Placing it responsibly. What system can function with such a bias that it can translate any situation into one formula? That is, I think, the reason for stupidity, or even madness, not being able to tell the difference between things.
Like,
this person is screaming at me. He's a bully. I don't like being screamed at. Another person, or the same person in a different situation, screams, but you know you've done something that provokes him to scream. He has a good reason. They are two different things, the screaming of one and the screaming of the other. Often that distinction is not made. We cannot survive in a vacuum. We must be part of a community. Perhaps 10, 100, 1,000? It depends how strong you are. But even the strongest need to identify with a dozen, 3, even one who sees, thinks, and feels as he does. The greater the need for that kind of reassurance, the greater the number needed to identify with. Some need to identify with the whole nation. Then, the greater that number, the smaller the number of thoughts and responses. A common denominator must be reached. Thoughts, emotions that fit all are limited to a small number. That is, I feel, the concern of the educator, to teach how to be sensitive to the differences inside ourselves as well as outside ourselves, not to supervise the memorization of facts. Otherwise, the unusual must perish. As we grow, we feel we are strange, and fear any thought that is not accepted by everyone.
As I feel I am perishing, my hallucinations are madness, of course, but I wish I could be with others who hallucinate also. I would still know I'm mad, but I wouldn't feel so isolated. Hallucinations are real, you know. They're not like dreams. They are as real as all of you here. I've actually asked to be hospitalized so I could be with other nuts. But the doctors don't want to. They can't diagnose me. That makes me even more isolated. You see, right now it's an awful moment because you don't know what to say or do. And if I were with others who hallucinate also, they would say, "Oh yeah, sure, it's awful. Oh, those dummies, they don't see anything." It's not so bad. Really. I can laugh at it. Adam's ready. We should start. Come on.
Sure. All right, I start, right?
Right.
I talk about stifling conditions of primary school education, etc., the project. I know what I'm going to say, but I don't want to bore you with it. We all know it by heart. Blah, 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 swan and swan, swan and so on. Then I introduce Emma. And now, Miss Emma Blake.
Paula goes next.
Does it matter?
Of course it matters. Dramatics. It has to build. I'm in costume.
Oh. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Paula Corey will speak on art as a tool for learning. And I tell them the work you have done at the Institute, community centers, essays, etc. Miss Paula Corey.
ladies and gentlemen, I, like my fellow educator and colleague, Stephanie Beckman.
I'm not an educator.
What are you?
A do-gooder, a Girl Scout.
Well, I, like my fellow Girl Scouts, say, blah, 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 and I offer the jewels of my wisdom and experience, which I will write down and memorize, otherwise I'm sure I would simply stand here and stammer and go blank. And even after I memorize it, I'm sure I will simply stand here and stammer and go blank. But perhaps after our colleague Emma Blake works with me on it, my impulses will burst forth in a symphony of eloquence.
Breathe in and bow.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, the incomparable, our precious dear Emma Blake.
Prologue to The Science of Educational Dramatics by Emma Sheridan Fry. Environment knocks at the gateway of the senses. A rain of summons beats upon us day and night. We do not answer. Everything around us shouts against our deafness, struggles with our unwillingness, batters our walls, flashes into our blindness, strives to sieve through us at every pore, begging, fighting, insisting. It shouts, "Where are you? Where are you?" But we are deaf. The signals do not reach us. Society restricts us, schools straitjackets us, civilization submerges us, privation wrings us, luxury featherbeds us. The divine urge is checked. The winged horse balks on the road, and we, discouraged, defeated, dismount and burrow into ourselves. The gates are closed, and divine urge is imprisoned at center. Thus, we are taken by indifference, that is death. Environment, finding the gates closed, tries to break in. Turned away, it comes another way. Kept back, it stretches its hands to us, always scheming to reach us. Never was a suitor more insistent than environment, seeking admission, claiming recognition, signaling to be seen, shouting to be heard. And through the ages, we sit inside ourselves, deaf, dumb, and blind, and will not stir. Maybe you are not deaf. Perhaps signals reach you. Maybe you stir. The gates give. Eternal urge pushes through the stupor of our senses, making paths to meet the challenging suitor, windows through which to see him, ears through which to hear him, environment shouting, where are you? And center battering at the inner side of the wall, crying, here I am, and dragging down bars, wrenching gates, prying at portholes, listening at cracks, reaching everywhere and demanding that sense gates be flung open. The gates are open. Eternal urge stands at the threshold, signaling with venturous flag. An imperious instinct lets us know that all is ours, and that whatever anyone has ever had or known, or whatever we may ever have or know, we will call and claim. A sense of life universal surges through our life individual. We attack the feast of this table with an insatiable appetite that cries for all. What are we? A creation of God's consciousness coming now, slowly and painfully, into recognition of ourselves. What is personality? A small part of us. The whole of us is behind that hungry rush at the gates of senses. What is civilization? A circumscribed order in which the whole has not entered. What is environment? Our mate, our true mate that clamors for our reunion. We will meet him. We will seize all, learn all, know all here, that we may fare further on this great quest. The task of now is only a step toward the task of the whole. Let us then seek the laws governing real-life forces that, coming into their own, they may create, develop, and reconstruct. Let us awaken life dormant. Let us boldly, seizing the star of our intent, lift it as the lantern of our necessity, and let it shine over the darkness of our compliance. Come, the light shines, come, it brightens our way, come, don't let this glorious light pass you by, come, the day has come. Oh, it's so beautiful.
It is, Emma, it is.
Environment knocks at the gateway.